welcome to the Pantheon. My name's Hydo, and we're going to be having a look at one of the new commanders from Strixhaven here. Specifically, only one side of him. These new commanders, they're really cool, but they're designed to play together, and in Commander, unless you've got some crazy token strategy, you're not going to be having them both on the field at the same time. So I feel it's very important to build around one specific side. So today, we're going to be having a look at Plargg. Excellent name. The Dean of Chaos. 2 mana, which is very recastable. So if he dies, we can replay him again and again and again. He has the ability to discard a card, draw a card. Nice bit of rummaging there. And then 5 mana and tap. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-legendary, non-land card with mana value 3 or less. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Put all revealed cards not cast this way on the bottom of your library in a random order. And he's a 2 mana 2/2. Good God, look how far they've come. They're absolutely fantastic. So this deck is going to be mainly built around discarding cards, as that is the ability that is on our commander. But there's going to be a few interesting things going along with it. Coming in at number 5, we have Glinthorn Buccaneer, a 3 mana 2/4 with haste. It's also a Minotaur Pirate. Wonderful, wonderful line. Whenever you discard a card, Glinthorn Buccaneer deals 1 damage to each opponent. Can pay 2, discard a card, draw a card. Activate this ability only if Glinthorn Buccaneer is attacking. Very, very cool. And if we're going to be discarding cards, we want to be affecting, maybe not the board, but our opponents in some way. So pinging them, absolutely fantastic. The same can be said for Browlin, Sky Shark Rider. It's 4 mana for a 3/3, I don't know, Bag of Holdings in the way there. Partners with a Shabazz, but Shabazz is blue-white, so we can't put it in the deck. Whenever you discard a card, put a 1/1 counter on Browlin, and it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Exactly the same sort of effect. Also, gives Shark Trample. Great. Then we have Flameblade Adept, 1 mana for a 1/2 with Menace. Whenever you cycle or discard a card, it gets +1 so until end of turn. And then we've got Bag of Holding, 1 mana for an artifact. Whenever you discard a card, exile that card from your graveyard. Pay 2, tap it, draw a card and discard a card. Or, pay 4 and tap it, sacrifice Bag of Holding, return all cards, exile with Bag of Holding into their owner's hand. This is fantastic. We can bring back everything that we've discarded previously. And because it's 1 mana, can play it before we play our commander. Good stuff. Now, coming in at number 4, Chandra Flamecaller. This Planeswalker is a personal favourite of mine. 6 mana is incredibly weighty, but I think it's worth it. +1, create 2 3/1 red elemental creature tokens with haste. Exile them at the beginning of next end step. You can attack your opponent's Planeswalkers, get some damage in. Then, 0, discard all your cards from your hand, then draw that many cards +1. So, we're not just going to be discarding 1 card a turn, like our commander lets us. We're going to be discarding tons and tons of cards. And then -X, Chandra Flamecaller deals X damage to each creature. Brilliant, nice little board wipe built into her. If we plus her a couple of times, she'll kill absolutely everything. And then still be on the field. It's good stuff. To go along with this, we've got a couple of other sort of wheel effects that are quite interesting. Because we are a Boros deck, as the other side of our commander is white, Heartwarming Redemption, which is 4 mana, in an instant, it says discard all cards in your hand, then draw that many cards +1. You gain life equal to the number of cards in your hand. Absolutely great. Nice bit of life gain. Lovely. And look at that art. Gideon looks so hench and hunky. Then we have Runehorn Hellkite, which is a 6 mana 5/5 flyer. We're not interested in that. The main reason this is in is you can pay 6 and exile it from your graveyard. Each player discards their hand and draws 7 cards. So, early game with our commander, we can tap our commander to discard this. Late game, we can wheel. Great. And if we need a 6 mana 5/5 flyer, crazy, we can do it. Then we've got Fateful Showdown, which is 4 mana. The Runehorn Hellkite's foot is blocking that. But it's an instant. It deals damage to target creature or player equal to the number of cards in your hand. Discard all the cards in your hand and draw that many cards. Cool little will effect. Which brings us on to number 3. Ange's Ravenger. So, if we're discarding all these cards, Madness is a pretty good way to make use of it. 3 mana for a 3/3. Vampire Berserker. And the art is sick. It just looks so menacing. Can't get in foil though, so it's worthless. It attacks each combat if able, and whenever Angie's Ravager attacks, discard your hand and draw 3 cards. Another way that we can wheel away our hand and keep churning through the deck. And of course, it's got Madness for 2 mana. Madness also allows you to play it whenever you discard it, so if you are using your instant speed discards, you can cast this for its Madness cost. Now, we've also got a couple more Madness cards. Avacyn's Judgment, which is a 2 mana, deal 2 damage to anything. But if we discard it and cast it for the Madness cost, it's a red and X, where X is however much mana you want to pump into it, and then you can divide that amongst all different sorts of things. Pew, 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 pew. Reckless Worm is a 5 mana trampling 4/4 with Madness for 3. It's not that great, but it's a nice bit of value that you can tack on to your discards. Stormkirk Occultist is a 3 mana 3/2 with trample, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of your library. At end of turn, you may play this card. Now, that's a nice bit of card advantage, red impulse draw, and we can Madness it for 2 mana for a 3/2. Woohoo! How cool. Which brings us on to number 2. It's Surly Badgersaw. He's a 4 mana 3/3. And we've been talking a lot about discarding, so let's talk a bit more about it, shall we? Whenever you discard a creature card, put a 1/1 counter on Surly Badgersaw. Whenever you discard a land card, create a treasure token. Ramp. Whenever you discard a non-creature, non-land card, it fights one other target creature you don't control. Removal. It does everything whenever you discard something. It's great. To go along with this, we've got a couple of other things that we can use to discard. I'm going to move on to Tectonic Reformation first, as this gives every land in your hand cycling. So, you can cycle away a land for just 1 red, make a treasure. You can keep doing that until you run out of lands. Wow, absolutely incredible. Jaya Ballad Taskmage is a 3 mana 2/2, I think she is. And she has a wall of text. Pay a red, discard a card, destroy target blue permanent. Cool. Pay 2, tap her, discard a card. Jaya Ballad deals 3 damage to target creature or player. The creature dealt damage this way can't be regenerated this turn. Cool. Then 7 mana and tap her and discard a card. Jaya. 6 damage to each creature. And cool. Does say player. Very, very cool. If you give a lifelink, you gain an astonishing amount of life. It's really, really cool. And then Vegeta the Lion is a 5 mana 3/3. Pay 4 tapper, discard 2 cards from your hand, destroy all creatures except for Vegeta the Lion. Those creatures can't be regenerated. Nice little recurable board wipe. And also you can Madness some things in. Although you would Madness them in and then they'd explode. But it's something you could do, and it fits well with the theme. Which brings us on to our number 1 card. And the rest of these cards are really good, but really this is a deck unto itself, and it's Fluctuator. So the 5 mana ability on our commander, tap, and you keep going through your deck. If you have nothing else that costs 3, only Fluctuator, you'll always find your Fluctuator, which can lead to a really cool cycling-based deck. Fluctuator, of course, makes your cycling cost 2 less. So, with Herald of the Forgotten, which is a 8 mana 6/6 with flying, and when it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, return any number of target permanent cards with cycling abilities from your graveyard to the battlefield. You can be cycling through your entire deck after you've got your Fluctuator, and then recur everything. Or you can Zenith Flare everything, which is 4 mana, to deal X damage to any target and you gain X life, where X is the number of cards with a cycling ability in your graveyard. So you can just absolutely churn through your deck. Everything costs less. Everything costs 0, essentially, to cycle it. So you can just really churn your way through. And potentially bolt someone for about 40. Now, I wouldn't really recommend this deck. I think it's very glass cannon. There's not really much ramp you can run, as there isn't much legendary ramp. You can play a couple of the Moxies, but it's really cool, and cycling is my favourite and, in my opinion, the best mechanic Magic has ever printed. So, I just think it's absolutely wonderful. And then with that, we've talked about my favourite cards for this deck. If you've got any suggestions, please do tell me. And coming soon, there will be the other half of this deck, where we look at the Flip Commander. You can use some cards from both, you know, make it interesting. Or you could just stick to one. Anyway, if you've got any suggestions, please do tell me and maybe subscribe. Thank you very much. Goodbye.